Somehow, in the wake of this phenomenal achievement, he has put together a semi-respectable career in video production, which has taken him from the sets of independent films to the sidelines of college football and NFL locker rooms, to the fairways, clubhouses, and homes of PGA Tour players. He has, and I know this, attended many of these evenings, stretching as far back as Arnold's, the Elks Lodge, Colonial Oak, and the Front Porch, and he is excited, delighted to share his story with you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jason Boddy and finding the courage to connect.
This is my story, one that begins and ends with a smile, and for that I am truly grateful. Although the journey from proud, carefree sprinkler runner in Ohio to the guy who stands here in front of you, like many of you, took some personal growth. See, I was painfully shy. Any social achievements were small at the start, and while this one foretold some difficult situations to come, I do kind of love it. It wasn't much of an improvement from my previous situation, where at another daycare, and my dad visiting for the afternoon for some sort of parent-child activity. When it was go time, they found me, after much searching, back up behind some chairs and tables, unwilling to come out, knowing I had to go perform in front of others in some way, and I was way out on that. I found this cartoon in a scrapbook my parents kept for me growing up, and while it illustrates a child's very real fears of monsters, is a perfect metaphor for what I knew what tragedy would strike me if I ever ventured too far out in a social situation, which impacted me in various ways. Visiting my grandparents over in St. Petersburg as a kid and with a broken arm. When everybody went out to the beach, I wandered behind with my cast and all the clothes I had arrived in from Ohio that winter. Unwilling to do any shorts or flip-flops, although I do feel like I had good reason to stay covered up. See, I was born with a sunken chest and a droopy eye. In my training days, spent time on my hands and knees, hoping that I would not be on the skin side of shirts versus skins in basketball practice or gym class, trying to avoid any questions or jokes about my body. I believe this is what led me to love the sport of tackle football, where I could take out my aggressions and any frustrations on my fellow teammates or the other team, all the while outfitted in pads and a helmet that helped me feel invincible. I was also on a team and made some friends, one of which was at the center of helping me turn the page on this shyness that I'd started my life with. This haunting image of Kurt Cobain hung over my bed in late middle school and high school years, and while it had been some time since I had tried to put my head through the family room window, thinking that was the right exit from all the emotions I was experiencing at the time, the negative thoughts about my social abilities and physical appearance really hung with me. I became obsessed with learning what Zach or any of the friends at school, the popular kids, were talking about when they were hanging out, thinking if I could just ever overhear enough, I would learn the conversational formula that would lead to a rich and fulfilling life. One at least that existed without the anxiety that had taken up permanent residence in my stomach. One thing that they were talking about apparently was sharing a rumor that I was gay. And while there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, because I wasn't, and none of my friends were, and especially in 1990s suburbia, the result of this was just me being left out from anything that was going on in the community. I was, thank God, coming of age at a time without Snapchat or Instagram, so I had no idea what I was missing out on. I was just desperate for something to happen, specifically outside of sports practice. For this project, I looked back on some journals I had kept in high school and found a few lines from my first entry that were pretty revealing. I wrote, "My life is a bore. As I look in the mirror, I see a lonely, confused, and unhappy soul. Though I'm a veteran of this depression and have mastered the ways of the lonely, how to pass time, I'm familiar with the routine, but I'm sick of it. I'd like a change, a drastic one. And it was from these depths that I've built the rest of my life. I discovered who was at the center of spreading this rumor. One was a former football teammate from those early days. So with what felt from an unsustainable place, I called him and asked him about this. He confessed. I explained the impact it had had on me. He apologized. I accepted. We moved on. I started getting invites to whatever was going on at the time, whatever it was that we did. I met girls. I became captain of my high school football team and dated the homecoming queen. I don't mean to say I was an introvert, made a phone call, I was an extrovert. I just was carefully picking my spots to socialize. And this has led to some of the most amazing things in my life, probably all of them. By this I mean just finding a level of comfort in new situations, giving myself the opportunity to have unexpected, unplanned, and rewarding experiences. Time at home can be from recovering from these and resting up for the next adventure. Now follow this closely. Finding the courage to connect is how I made a new friend in college who introduced me to a friend of his from back home who lived across the hall from a cute girl who I followed to St. Augustine and married, who introduced me to a co-worker whose husband did Irish storytelling and now helps MC nights like this. My 15-year-old quiet, shy me would never dream of the career I've built at the PGA Tour, where I've been able to confidently sit across this, and interview popular legends like Jack Nicklaus, or hang out at the homes of current stars like Justin Thomas, and coordinate all this with a popular TV host and social media influencer. My story is not Charlie's, the center of The Perks of Being a Wallflower movie, but there's overlap with him, I'm sure, with many of you. We must find our way in the world, and it's easier for me now that I don't fear situations like checking out at a store and interacting with the cashier. I've kept in touch and spent time with my former teammate through the years, and while I have a mountain of reasons to resent him and the others, I have found hanging on to these emotions not worth the energy. Watching our adolescent children go through these times now, I hope they too can find the courage to brave these waters. You won't find many lists of how to be happy without suggestions like believe in yourself, take chances, see friends, practice gratitude, and smile. I'm going to find a sprinkler to run through and celebrate finishing this thing. I appreciate you guys all listening to my story.